Hello, what's up, everybody? It is Bender Stuffer once again, and once again we are playing Age of Empires 4, and we're gonna be playing a multiplayer 4v4. So, what uh, what we're playing today is we're playing Chinese. I've been working on getting a solid opening build and kind of figuring out the rest. In this game, I tried something a little bit different. But it was kind of cool. And most 4v4 games that you play, or at least I play, a lot of them ends up in wonder victories or losses, depending on what side you're on. So I thought it would be really cool to show you guys this game and also to show you my opening build. By no means am I professional. You will see at the end of the game my stats and everything, but I feel like this was really cool, and I've been really working on an opening Chinese build. I can get to the feudal age really fast. Most games I play, I'm the first one there. And this is a 4v4, so I've been working on previous games. My economy is good, and I kind of rely on my other teammates kind of to hold them out at bay. So I'm trying to get a little better, trying to carry my own weight, I guess you can say, just trying to figure out this game. And that's what I love about 4v4, is that it allows you to get the experience with maybe a little bit more forgiving. So yeah, so I'm playing the Chinese team 2 here. You can see my teammates. I have 2 French and another Chinese, so 2 and 2. That's pretty cool. The other team has a Delhi, French, HRE, and English. So I think they have a great composition, and honestly, by the banners, you would probably think they're a little bit better than us, and that may be rightfully so. And they might win. We might win. I don't know. I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys, but I thought it was really cool for me to show you off my opening build and kind of how this 4v4 played out. And so it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and yeah, so hopefully you guys will enjoy it. It's only going to be about a 40-minute long video, so a little bit shorter than the rest, but still, you can gather some do's and don'ts of what I do. And so yeah, so we're just waiting for it to load here. But yeah, I haven't don't blame me. I haven't figured out how I can replay this and show you the entire map 4v4 of what everybody does. I was hoping to do it this game, but for whatever reason, it's not available. I don't know if it's in my settings or if it's only for the 1v1 games. So I recorded it and I'm doing a voiceover. So yeah, so my opening build here, I did it a little bit different this time. Normally I put all my villagers on food, but this time I put 5 of them on food. I immediately built a house, and then we're gonna put that one villager on the gold too after he builds up mine. And so you start out with enough wood to give you a house, a mine, and a lumber camp. And so you don't need a lumber camp to get to the second age. You don't need any more wood. So that's why I kind of like do this build a little bit different. And I actually did this one a little bit different than I previously do. I normally go make the house, go make the lumber camp, and then come back and make the mine. But I think this actually worked out a little better. So yeah, so I'm gonna just immediately send out my 2 workers and get them on gold. And I think I may have put 3 this time, but I meant to put 2, so that's a little unfortunate. But this build really works because no matter what map you play, you're at least gonna have 3 starting sheep, and that'll give you enough food to get to the feudal age and kind of set up for what you need to do. I haven't quite figured out how I want to incorporate the imperial official. Normally I get them in the feudal age or castle age, just kind of depending. This one I think I got in the feudal, but we'll just wait and see. And actually I did do what I wanted. I just wanted to put 2 villagers on gold. So I normally do a 13 population build. I normally stop after I get 13 workers and then start to the next age. Just because it's a little bit faster rather than just keep making villagers and then get enough gold to advance. And normally what I do is when I build the first advancement, building advancement, I normally pull them off the lumber and the gold because you want to keep that food economy rolling. So yeah. So also make sure if you're not using the control keys, make sure you use the control keys. I normally just put them as my town center, my scout to start off. So you can see here I got 230 gold, probably a little bit more than what I wanted, but I was holding out for food. And you can see I immediately put them on building it, and then I take the villagers off the wood and start to build it. It just speeds up the process. China has a really fast build speed. And also something else I did, which I don't know if I particularly liked it, but I also pulled my villagers off on food to build it. And I might do it again, but I think this really just depends on what your surrounding resources are. And as you can see, we're scouting the map with the scout. I haven't zoomed over there, but I've noticed green is over there. So that's kind of what I was kind of communicating with my team. I was like, okay, we're going to rush green because that's just an awfully close distance. It's honestly a little a little iffy how it worked out, but yeah, so we're not going to have a bunch of room to just like sit back and mine. There's not like a large distance between teams. Pink really needs us to kind of go and stall green, if you will. So that's my plan here. My plan here is a rush to the second age like I did, get all my resources back, start pumping them away, and then what we're going to do is we're going to build a blacksmith and a barracks so we can get that siege equipment. And what we're going to do is, because I kind of figured they were going to go horsemen, and I kind of guessed a little wrong here. I probably should have made some archers or something, but I just went with the spears because I was really anticipating horse. And honestly, it didn't work out too bad because I have two other French players and they came down with knights or heavy cavalry. So you can see here I'm kind of stalling this worker until I get 150 wood. I just get it, and I realize it, so I place down the barracks. I want to start pumping out those units so that they're down there and available when I start to make my siege equipment. And so I did a little bit of upgrades. I wanted to get the special pick. I normally, when I start upgrading my eco, I normally always start with the gold, just because gold just kind of reflects all your other upgrades. So if you upgrade upgrade the gold first, then you kind of have a snowball effect for all your other upgrades, and it just works faster rather than getting wood and then, oh, okay, I use that gold, and so we're going to then get the gold upgrade. Yeah, so, and you can also see before I did get the double down speed for chopping down the trees. And I don't know if I would do that again. I don't know if it's necessarily worth it, but it was just like a cheap little upgrade I could get to kind of boost my economy a little bit. And since we're just starting in the forest here, all the villagers are going to spread out. I felt like I wasn't going to be paying as much attention to them, so I felt like it kind of worked out. And you can also notice that this kind of depends on what your food sources is and kind of what your scouting game is, but you can see I jumped on the mill and then kind of left that sheep and then returned my other sheep. Sometimes I'm lucky enough that I can just rely on the sheep, but the only downfall for that, and this is the part I don't like about that, is that you don't get the food upgrades if you don't build that mill. So a lot of times it's really beneficial to build that mill, and I think I'm going to start doing that from now on. But yeah, this build wasn't exactly what I wanted to show you, but I think it worked out nice in this scenario. So you can see down here I brought down my scout, and I'm bringing down my worker over here to set up in one of these stealth forests and to kind of build up my siege and just kind of make an attack. And you can see there I started my siege engineering. It was probably a little bit late, but it's okay. I haven't worked out this to a T, but it has some great features. And you can see here that I only still have 2 workers on the gold, and it works out because I got the Imperial official So he's going to help me generate gold, and that's going to be like 3 or 4 workers on the gold mine. You can see my rally points a little bit off. I wanted to set down there, but I figured since he wasn't really pushing out, I would kind of rally my units in another direction. And you can see here, I have the wood, and this is where the timing was a little bit off. I have the wood, but I don't have the siege engineering done. So yeah, that was a little bit unfortunate, but I think it all worked out for the best. Also in this build, I did get a little bit limited by food. My food was always a little bit of an issue in this game, especially in the early game. So I wasn't particularly fond of that, but I think it just really came down to of just kind of like how I was utilizing the workers. Like I probably should have pulled off some from wood and then put them on food. But the issue here is I wanted to get those siege. I wanted to get those battering rams because I couldn't make a solid push with how I was doing this without a battering ram. I really needed something to soak it up. And you can see here my teammate Pink, he's kind of expanding a little bit. He's not really keeping too close to his base, but he has knights to help me. And you haven't seen them yet, but also Teal sent down a couple knights too. So I also don't think I saw a lot of purple this game, but I think they kind of were doing their own thing. And since they didn't have a lot of pressure, they kind of just sat back, let us deal with it. I think they joined in at times, but yeah. So you can see here that I didn't even scout. I just built the ram. And honestly, since I had the wood, I probably should have built another one and then pushed. But yeah, so you can see here I'm going in and pushing, and you can also see Teal and Pink are putting pressure down on the other side of Green's base. Now Green, I have to commend Green on this. He really played a great game and really just like stopped my build. But what I was just trying to do here was put pressure on Green, kind of stall him, kind of give Pink more time to get his army, get his eco a little bit. And you can see here that Green kind of surrounded me. I was hoping my teammates would come in and kind of like clean up the workers. It was just a little bit miscommunication. So yeah, so I lost most of my initial army, but I had enough wood there to start building up 2 more rams. And so I was like, you know, since their units didn't die, I think I can put a little bit more money into putting this initial push. And you can see I'm not building any more barracks right now. I'm just simply relying on the 1 blacksmith and the 1 barracks. And also, it was great work by Teal. He was really putting a lot of pressure on Green there. So it was really a joint effort. Without these great teammates, I don't know if this build would have went as well as it did. I think just putting that initial pressure, like even just stopping his workers from mining, like that was like 30 seconds a minute that allowed Pink to kind of get an upper hand here. So yeah, so I'm kind of switching my workers over here to food. I think I have enough wood. So yeah, starting to get some eco upgrades, but I'm really just trying to like micromanage and get enough troops down there. So you can also see blue, red, and I believe yellow. Is yellow there yet? No, just blue and red are down there trying to chase away Teal. But at the same time, I'm up here just constantly spamming battering rams and just kind of setting him over to the TC. And every time he does this, Green is really good at this, man. He just like takes off the workers and burns it down. So really props to him. And I probably should have waited a second until I got a little bit bigger army, but I saw that Teal and Pink were kind of distracting Green a little bit, so I kind of thought I could sneak in there. And I saw that their army's there. I really wanted to wait till I had 2 battering rams, but their army was there ready to pressure, so I really wanted to try to make this a joint attack. And honestly, this is just a great awareness from both teams, or at least from my team. I don't know what really happened with their team, but I felt like it was a pretty good communication. And you can see that he's targeting my battering ram with his villagers, and I kind of or not his spearmen, and I kind of anticipated that. So I didn't even bother going to the town center. I really just wanted to take out this mill, kind of stop his food, and I believe I was successful. I'm not quite sure here. We'll find out in a second. But at the same time, he's trying to take care of that battering ram. Their team is trying to just like send over some units, kind of stop the initial push. So, it took off. It required a lot of micromanaging, a lot of attention awareness from the other team. So even though we didn't destroy green in these pushes, I think we really got the upper hand on that team. And so yeah, so you can see I'm starting to get these upgrades now. I felt like getting the defensive would kind of buff out my units a little bit, especially if I was getting spearmen right that second. So yeah, so I'm starting to work on my eco here, and I didn't really have any solid source of food other than the deer camp, so I just immediately decided to switch to food, and it worked out well because I had quite a large number on wood, and I didn't build like 2 more rams out of it. I kind of was planning to make some farms, and so I kind of wanted to have a nice little stockpile of wood there. And you can see Teal is running down into Blue's base, kind of harassing him a little bit. And I figured, since we just have a battering ram and a couple villagers, let's go down there, see if he tried to push out to the other berry bush, and see if we can just kind of like stop him from getting some food eco. Just stall him, just push him away, give Pink as much as advantage as we possibly can. And so I'm just waiting down there because I didn't scout it recently, so I'm not quite sure what is there. And at the same time, I'm trying to just save up for to go into the castle age here, because I know we're not going to win this game just off of the feudal age. I think if we would have made green drop, I think if green was any less of a player than what he is, or much less, I think he played this game great. I mean, very much props to green. I think green was one of the stronger members on their team. And so I knew we weren't going to win this game. I was kind of trying to ping to my teammates like, hey, I'm attacking over here, like just kind of like I didn't even say anything. I just let them know to see what they would do. And you can see here that the mill just ran out as I got to the castle age. So great timing. And so I kind of struggled here for a little bit to get a sufficient amount of farms, which that was okay. And as I was doing that, I lost. I couldn't micromanage enough. I lost track of those units. But they took down a house, and taking down a house, that means there's another 50, 75 wood from his. From my opponent that he has to spend. He has to take that extra villager off to rebuild it, and on top of that, he might be supply capped, so that's a big deal. Also here you can see that I was mining some stone, and I typically get a second TC. Now most of the time I try to get a second TC in the feudal age, but since we did that initial push, I just didn't have enough wood available to build that second TC. And I think if I would have skipped on like the final battering ram or maybe one of those, I think I could have fit it in there. You can also see Teal is doing some great micromanaging, and Pink, and able to catch out some of the archers, just put that constant pressure on. And that's what I really wanted out of this game, was that since Pink and Green were so close, we couldn't just like step back, get to the castle age, and then start to build up our army and everything, or even go for a wonder. We also did a very good job scouting the map, and as you can see, there's a ton of gold in the middle, but around our bases there isn't much, and we're kind of spread out pretty decently. So, and kind of defending that middle position may be a little hectic. So I didn't really appreciate this till about this point in this game, that this plan really kind of worked together. So yeah. So as you can see here, I'm putting down another actually my first siege workshop. And kind of my plan here is just because I kind of want to spam units at them and everything. My plan is just to go Palace Guard and Nest of Bees because I saw that they were building a lot of spearmen, a lot of archers, and so I was like, well, those Nest of Bees are going to be great against those archers. And honestly, I love the Palace Guard, the Imperial Guard, Imperial Palace Guard, whatever you call them. I love them. They have great speed. They have great attack. They're not overly expensive units. So I really like them. And I think they pair well with the Nest of Bees. Now, I've noticed, I do want to note that as of now, as of 3 December 3rd, 2021, that I think the targeting just overall is quite buggy. People were saying, "Oh, Delhi is buggy," but honestly, I think it's like the special age units or the special civilization units that are having difficulties. Because when I was playing Delhi, the Dumbos, they had an issue targeting, and I've noticed the same with the Nest of Bees. So yeah, that was a little weird. But you can see pink is getting chased away by blue and green here, and noticed that they were spearmen, so that was like, okay, let's continue with this build. I think it'll be a good counter to them. Also, I think I forgot, but I did make another TC, or not a TC, a market, and I started spamming some traders just because I noticed that the trading market was so close to us, and also that gold might be an issue later on in the game. So yeah, so I was really heavy on the traders. I think I got like somewhere between 5 or 10. So yeah, and you can see now that I'm just kind of starting to gather my army, kind of redistributing my workers here. I wasn't a big fan of these tree lines. I felt like they were oddly placed. I wasn't a big fan of any of the resources in this map. I felt like it was a very odd map. It wasn't enough resources. This is gigantic, but I felt like this was a very small map for 4v4. So I also want to make a note of that. So you can see here I'm starting to get out some Nest of Bees. I'm starting to put some upgrades, and I'm starting to pump out those Imperial Palace Guard. And you can also see that pink is kind of expanding his base a little bit. Teal is still quite small, but he's small because he's just pumping out those units, and I was actually really appreciative of that. I think he was kind of along the same thinking of me. Was like, oh, okay, we're kind of in the back here. They're going to need to go through pink before they get to us, or they're going to want to go through pink before they get to us. And so, and I was thinking the same for green. I was like, okay, well, green and pink are so close, so we kind of just need to put the pressure on green here. So yeah, so we're just building up our army a little bit, getting all our resources in order, getting some upgrades, kind of leveling out all of our incomes, and yeah. So I got the speed upgrade for the Nest of Bees, which is super important. I don't think I would try to pick a battle unless I had that speed upgrade for the Nest of Bees. So yeah, so you can see here, I kind of noticed I had a lot of workers on wood, and I really needed to solve my food issue here because I was just running into a constant food issue. So I took some workers off wood and I built some farms with them, and it kind of evened out my economy, I think, pretty well. So you can see here I'm getting ready for another push. I have my Nest of Bees, I'm getting some battering rams, and honestly the battering rams are just to like kind of a distraction, you know, put some pressure on their buildings, like, hey, if you don't deal with this, your building's gonna die. And at the same time, I noticed pinks is still have some units over there. I wasn't really aware of purple or teal, but as long as pink had some units, I felt like that was going to be sufficient. And now I'm just kind of letting my teammates know, like, hey, I'm getting ready for another push. I have 2 Nest of Bees. I got a battering ram. Like, let's put another pressure on this guy. Let's not let him sit and like recover his economy. Because also starting out with that initial build, building out those units, that definitely delayed our timings, definitely delayed our advancements. And also I do want to note that after I got to the Castle Age, I just lost any motivation to get to the Imperial. I really wanted to win this game in the Castle Age after I kind of saw the map, kind of saw the initial battle and everything. So yeah. So now we're just kind of waiting for our army to get there. I probably should have built a few other barracks or at least another blacksmith, probably both of them. But the issue here is that I didn't have enough food. I just ran into a constant food issue this game. And also, I want to note that it probably may have been a little bit more beneficial if I would have went to a different dynasty. But uh, I wasn't planning on build that way. I wasn't planning on this to be a super long game. I knew I had the advantage, so we wanted to keep pressing it. And down here, I probably should have got a clock tower and bombard after, and I thought about that after I saw the French bombards or whatever they're called. And so I see that green put the most of his army to go deal with pink, and so did yellow. So I was like, okay, well, this would be a great time to put pressure on his TC. There's no units there. We won. Pink won the battle over there. So it's like, okay, now we really have to put the pressure on green. And you can see here, I felt like at this moment most of my economy was pretty solved. I was gonna run into a housing issue, but I was like, okay, that's fine. I have enough wood. We'll deal with it. And I wasn't paying attention as well, but red started to send over some units, and so did some of the other teams. But I felt like my focus, my job, was just to constantly harass green. And you can see here, he didn't even put a fight up this time. I don't know if he just like gave up, like trying to fend for that decision. He ended up relocating his base or putting it farther away from us. So I don't know after the initial push if he just kind of like forsake that base. I was really hoping to kind of see it, but yeah. And also I believe that as soon as I destroyed his town center, his base started to get rebuilt a little bit. I was just kind of curious of like how we're able to see like his what is it, landmark over in that bottom corner of the map. So that was a little weird. But yeah, so you can see here that I'm building some more battering rams, just trying to put pressure on his buildings and everything. Teal also saw that he had some mills, some houses down at the bottom, so he's just putting pressure on what we thought was his entire economy. Like, we didn't know he had a different base here. You can also see my gold ran out. I normally, when I get low on a node of gold, I don't pull off those workers because I want to get all the gold I can out of that. But I normally take one worker off and I set up another mine, and he just starts working on that, just so like when those workers are done, they can just immediately hop over to the other mine. So yeah, you can see I have a pretty good number of Nesta Bees. They have the speed upgrade. I'm working on getting other upgrades, but my main focus was just like kind of pumping out this army here. And so yeah, and I felt like after I made those battering rams, we were going to have a really good push into Blue's base. And then on top of that, Pink had the Bombards and Knights. So I really felt like we were in a really good position here. So I was really wanting to push. I had a decent food eco and just a whole economy in a whole. It was nothing great, but I think it really worked out. And you can see in the back of my base here, I just have like a train line of workers just pumping out, chopping down wood. And I probably should have managed that a little bit better. But yeah. And so here you can see I'm sending in my battering rams first. We're just trying to go for his buildings here. Make sure that we don't suffer any casualties. And as soon as we were pushing in, Blue started to push out with his Dumbos. And oh my goodness, I forgot how good these Dumbos are, man. They are freaking awesome. So when I saw the Dumbos, I was like, okay, we'll just send our battering rams in to cause havoc on his base while we just fight this battle. And hopefully he doesn't take off any villagers to start torching our battering rams. And you can see here that I finally noticed, oh, okay, that's something wrong with wood. And so I started to try to recollect it. And also I started to build some more farms just so I had enough food. And I think at this point I was starting to think, okay, let's go to the Imperial Age, because I think Blue and Yellow might be in Imperial Age already. I'm not quite sure. And you can see here that our armies took a big hit trying to deal with those Dumbos. I mean, I felt like we had a much bigger army before that. But yeah, so we eventually took care of it. Blue's repairing his base, so I was trying to take at those nest of bees and hunt down his workers, but he hit him again, so no worries. He's also coming out with more Dumbos, so that's a little problematic, especially after the initial Dumbo attack pretty much wiped out our armies, and then Yellow started to push in. And I did notice from an earlier second that Yellow was trying to maneuver around and get my nest of bees, and I didn't micromanage as best as I wanted to, but I did do enough to save that one little one. And so as soon as we get clearance, I tell them to turn around and start firing on the Yellow army. They wanted our artillery, man. They wanted it. And all while this is going, while they're focused on our nest of bees, our artillery, they kind of forgot about the battering rams a little bit, which was great, which was the whole purpose of those battering rams. They weren't supposed to be there to count on. They were just more of a distraction, like a nuisance, like, hey, all right, this is here, you got to deal with it. And so I'm trying to use these nest of bees on firing down on the Dumbo, and I noticed here that he had 3 monks that were in a mosque, university, whatever it was, that were just kind of hid away. So I tell those nest of bees to kind of focus down on those monks, scholars, pardon me, and so they can't heal those elephants, because those elephants are a big pain to deal with, let me tell you. So yeah, so here I was trying to trade away my resources, try to advance that next stage, get us a little bit closer, but I was more farther away than I thought, so I was just like, okay, we're just going to keep pumping out units here. And so I'm using my initial army here. I wasn't rallying all my other guys here. I wish I would have done that a little bit better, but it is what it is. So we're really trying to focus down on this base. He left shortly after that. I really felt like if we would have give Blue another 5 minutes, that would have just been straight havoc to deal with, 10 more Dumbos in that army. Oof, that would have been hard. And also, you can also see that Green didn't drop from the game. We destroyed most of his base here, and I think we just felt like, okay, well, let's not focus all of our energy on him. I think we put him far enough behind that we can start to put pressure on the other guys. Because there was really nobody stopping us from advancing. And so I checked here to see who's left, and we saw Red left and Blue left. So I just try to tell my team, hey, Yellow and Green, those are who's left. And so yeah, so Green's landmark started to pop up, and I know we didn't scout him, so I don't know if that's a bug or if just because we destroyed his town center or one of his landmarks that we're able to see it. And so now I'm just trying to take my army down here in this southern edge of the map and just put enough pressure on him. Just kind of wait for everybody to get there, kind of do a little bit of split push, like, hey, we're here, you got to deal with us. And so I set my nest of bees. I see Purple is starting to deal with Yellow. I also see that Green's moving up. I was hoping to get a volley of nest of bees off, but that didn't quite work out. So yeah. So I lose those nest of bees. I believe I lose all of them. I didn't have enough Imperial Palacemen or Palace Guard to stop his men of arms. So that was unfortunate, but I was kind of aware of that. I had those other reinforcements in the back, so I pulled them up and started to go to town on them, because there was definitely enough distance to get off 1 or 2 volleys, and that's all we really needed. So after that battle, after I lost those Palace Guard, I was like, oh, maybe we should get some upgrades. Maybe we should speed this along. So I built a couple more blacksmiths to speed up that process. And you can see here that Green's trying to muster an army. And honestly, I was surprised of how many troops Green was able to muster. I really didn't expect an army from him. Or if I did, I expected spearmen or something, just like some cheapo units. And he actually had a bunch of men of arms. And you can see here that I'm starting to rally my troops together, and I come across his gold node, which I think was really just the death punch for him. Like, he had a little secret agent gold mine. I don't think I would have ever found that until we were done with all of his base down here in the south. So yeah, he's really trying to take out my nest of bees, and you can see like some of them just aren't firing. Like I tell them to target, but they just don't target. Sometimes they don't move. It's just a little buggy, man. I don't really know why, but it is. And you can see here, I also pulled off a bunch of my workers to build this Imperial. I just wanted to get it done super fast and get on with it. And I had enough wood stored away that it made it very doable. And you can see here, like, they're attacking him, but they're not firing back. And he almost got... Actually, does he? Yeah, he does. He gets that. So that was just an unfortunate scenario altogether. That was just a casualty I just did not need to lose. And you can see here that I know I'm going up against buildings, so I just dropped down a battering ram, just kind of speed up the process. And this was not for a distraction. This was, okay, I want to destroy your buildings and get out of here at this point. It's a 4v2. I think we got the upper hand here. And honestly, you can see here purple and I believe teal are just going to town on yellow's base. I didn't really look over there very much. I knew I just wanted to take care of green at this point. I didn't feel like he was going to leave the game. I felt like he put too much effort into this just to like give up. He wanted to make us work for it. Totally fine for it. I was game for it, not mad at it. Actually really respected him for not leaving. So yeah. And I think if we would have gave him a couple more minutes, I don't know if we would have won that outcome with blue. So yeah, right here, his final teammate surrendered, and at this point it's a 4v1. So I just dropped that GG and continue attacking his base here. And then I was kind of like a little giddy about it. I was like, I think that rush won us the game. And I think you can kind of guess the outcome here. So yeah. So this game, I'm just like getting some tech here, just trying to bump up my score, just try to like not just kind of keep into it, kind of do all the necessary things I normally would. You can also see my rallying's a little bit off. I have kind of troops scattered around the map a little bit, but I think it's okay. I think I played this well enough. I think I'm still trying to get the micromanaging down, but I think I did a pretty good job. We're getting there. We're not a pro by any means. That's why we're playing 4v4. Kind of figure out the game, figure out what works for us, and then translate that into 1v1 or 2v2. So yeah. So I see green had another landmark over there, and I was the closest to it. So I just wanted to send some troops down, take care of that real quick, and then I didn't really want to leave that southern edge yet because I didn't want him to rebuild. So I wanted to keep that main army down there, just kind of like chugging away at it. So, and I think purple might be still attacking yellow's base, and I don't really know why. Oh, okay, no, he's starting to come down now. Teal and purple are coming down now, so yeah. And you can also see that purple did get a wonder, so, or no, teal got a wonder, excuse me. Was it teal or purple? I don't know. I didn't look. I knew that we didn't have another 10 minutes left in this game, so I wasn't too worried about it. Yeah. And you can see there, green still trying to capture that sacred site. Props to him, man. Really good effort. Also, I've ran out of my gold right there. So I was just like, you know what? We're just going to mine stone. And that's what we did. So yeah. So I sent some troops down there earlier just to kind of take care of that sacred site. Just kind of like push the game along a little bit. And you can see here we kind of have, I would say the rest of green's base. kind of trapped, so there wasn't much place for him to go. And you know what? Props to him, man. He's building houses. He's still trying to stay in the game. He's like, you know what? You're gonna work for it, and I was cool with it. So immediately I took palace guard, and I try to hunt down those workers because I knew he was gonna try to torch my my batting ram, and you can see I caught him just before he was able to get like a solid throw, and he was playing Ring Around the Rosie with me, and I was like, okay, we're gonna lock you in there, we're gonna trap you. And you can see Pink's coming in to help off the job. He has some bombards, making the process go a little bit faster. We cleared out the rest of Green's base down there, and I just told him to sweep over, but at that point we won. So this was a pretty cool game, man. It didn't end up in a wonder victory. It was a rush 4v4. It was a group effort. It was a great game. I had a ton of fun playing this, and I really wanted to share it with you guys. My build is not complete by any means, but I really hope that initial build might help any player, any Chinese player, or anybody kind of like reassess how they start the game, because I really do believe just immediately getting, and you can see in that graph there just how quickly I got to the feudal age well before anybody. So here I thought that was going to be the replay link and I was going to be able to show you guys, but it wasn't that. And so we're going through the stats here. I didn't do as well as I thought we did. Really, pink and purple kind of like led the way, but I mean, I was right up there with their best player. So yeah, really can't complain about it. I was really far ahead on the feudal age. I probably would have been the first to castle, but I was just trying to put pressure on green. And you can see like just how much pressure we put on green. Like after that initial battle, his just economy collapsed and he was just kind of straggling the rest of the game. Really put us ahead. We were about middle in the pack for, you know, military, middle in the pack for technology. You can see I'm a solid almost below 3 minutes, and to get to feudal age well a minute before anybody else. And so I was a little lack on H3 and 4, but that's just how the game played out. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, come back again.